Alright, graphing in standard form. First, you're going to want to make sure it's actually in standard form, which is the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, now let's start with an example. 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. And this is standard form, and you can see the resemblance between the two. And in different formulas in equation, well, different formulas, a represents the first term, which would be 2 here, b represents the middle one with just an x, and that would be 4, and c represents the last term. Alright, and to actually graph these, we're going to first want to get a x value for this, and to get that you can do a formula of x equals negative b over 2a, and then you can plug in your values from that, and then b is 4, and then 2 times a is 2, so 2 times 2, and then x equals negative 4 over 4, so x equals negative 1. And then to get your y value, because you're trying to get your vertex to start graphing, and this is the easiest way to find it instead of guess and check, you just put your x into each x in the equation. So 2 negative 1 squared plus 4 negative 1 plus 2. Which ends up being 0. Okay. So now once you have your first point, which is your vertex, you can just make yourself a table for all your x and y values. And then the vertex is, of course, one of the values you got. And from here, you're just going to want to start plugging in a few different values to get some points on your graph. And I'm going to start with just putting in, well, actually I know what 0 is. So we'll do 0, and then because 0 times 0, well, 0 times anything is 0, and then 0 times anything is 0, you're just left with 2. Then I'll start plugging in 1. And you get 8. And I'm just going to start graphing with those points. You can go further to get a more extensive graph, of course, but for this purpose, this is all that I'm going to use. Alright, to graph the vertex, just plot the points. It's a vertex, 0, 2, then 1, 8, 4, 6, 8. And then your vertex, x value, that's also the axis of symmetry. So that just means that all those points you plotted over there can be reflected over this line here, over to this side. And that will give you your U shape for the equation. And then you can just connect your dots, and you have a graphed equation. Alright. On to, wait. Actually, you need to write down the axis of symmetry, which is the -1, or x equals -1. And then your vertex, that first point we got, equals negative 1, 0. Alright. Now let's try another example. I'll leave the formula there. Okay. Negative x squared minus 8x minus 12. Same concept, still same everything, just it's going to be reflected downwards instead of opening up because of that negative sign out front. Alright, so you're going to just insert each value into this equation, this formula here. Alright, so b would be negative 8, and then a is negative 1, because there's 1 there. Alright. And you're just going to quickly solve out that piece. Negative 4. So x equals negative 4 in this equation. And then you're just going to plug it into here again. Negative 1, negative 4 squared minus 8, negative 4 minus 12. Alright, and that gets me positive 4. So over here, I'm just going to write it, x, y, and it's going to be a little table, and our vertex is negative 4, the x value that we got earlier, and 4, positive 4. Alright, so now we're just going to want a few more points so we can graph it. And I'm going to put in negative 3. That gets me positive 3. I'm going to put in negative 2. And I get 0. Alright. I think I will start graphing at that. Alright, so our vertex is negative 4, positive 4. And then negative 3, positive 3 is our next point. And negative 2, 0 is our last point we have. And again, this x value right here, the negative 4, is your axis of symmetry, so you can reflect your points over it. As a super easy way of quickly graphing it and just connect them. And you have your graph for the equation now. Alright, and then your axis of symmetry, you're going to want that down. So x equals negative 4, and then your vertex is negative 4, positive 4. Alright, and that's all for graphing quadratic equations.